What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Getting Technical, episode 66.
Getting stutters.
Here with Burke. I pulled a Julian. Shout out to Julian. He ain't here.
Fuck Julian.
But yeah, we're recording regardless.
We're not shouting out guys that don't show.
No response either, which is the crazy part from Julian.
No, why can't you come?
And
Crickets.
he'll watch this. He is one of I know he watches, especially if he's not on. He's gonna be watching.
That's crazy because I still don't watch. I just like and comment.
I don't really watch it. The only time I'm watching
but
it
you
is
edit it,
if
though,
I'm
so it's
editing
different,
it.
yeah.
But if I don't get through it, which is a lot of the times because like shit just happens, I don't fucking watch it. I hate watching myself talk. I don't like it.
Honestly, I just don't feel the need to watch it because like I did it. You know? Like,
no,
it's
like
what am
when
I
I'm
gonna watch?
recording it,
watch
I know I remember every single thing we said. Like, but yeah, I mean, this is rock bottom for the Jets, for us Jet fans. I've never felt this way. I root for the Mets, the Jets, and the Knicks, and this is the lowest I've felt as a fan, because there's just like. They actually have talent on the team.
They have so much talent. It's actually insane.
And they still can't win. And it's just like every week is like some new like embarrassing thing as a fan. It's like Salah gets fired. They bring in the new coach. Doesn't matter. They still lose. Then mid-season firings don't happen that much in the NFL.
Like
they happen in basketball a lot. They don't happen in the NFL a lot.
It's even so weird that you week 5, right? It was week 5. They were 2-3. You fire Salah, and now it's week 12, and you're firing Joe Douglas. Like, why wouldn't you fire the both of them together? It's just Woody Johnson sucks. He's the root of all problems. I mean, Joe Douglas. There's a lot of people out there blaming Joe Douglas, and this guy literally he created a super team this year. He drafted all the right guys except Zach Wilson. We all know whatever. Think what you want, but then. He went out and got us a Hall of Fame quarterback. And then he tears his Achilles, season shot right there. But the big problem is that with Douglas is that he let Rodgers have too much of the reins, bringing in Hackett, bringing in Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard. Those are some issues. But then even this year, it's like we have 3 big additions to our offensive line. Offensive line actually looks somewhat stable, but he just can't move and avoid pressure. He holds the ball, doesn't throw the ball 10 yards down the field. I don't even know what to say at this point with this team. It's just another year of the goddamn Jets.
Yeah, and what makes things weird now is like, okay, you fired Salah and you fired Douglas. So now the guy you bring in, the next GM you bring in, he's going to obviously want his head coach, and he's going to want to draft his quarterback. Obviously, Rodgers is, 42? I was pretty optimistic when they drafted
Travis, yeah.
Jordan Travis, right? Yeah, I thought he was a great pick. I loved it. I do think, like, Douglas has made great moves for the Jets, but when you look at his bad moves and then you look on top of that, now all these stories are starting to come out about what Woody Johnson's made Joe Douglas do. Yeah. And you're looking at what he's done this season, and it's like all the bad moves, you're like, oh, it actually wasn't Joe Douglas. It was Woody Johnson making him make these decisions. Right. He was blocking trades. He was demanding we make trades. He was demanding players get benched. The guy is just a disaster, and it's like he's got to be the worst owner in sports now. And a lot of people, like you said before, same city, people gave James Dolan a lot of shit, saying he was like this hands-on guy who was just always like he was ruining the Knicks. Yeah. And he didn't do it with the Rangers, and now he finally...
that was always the weird thing with Dolan is he's hands-off with the Rangers, but he was so hands-on with the Knicks.
Yeah, like they're a great organization for the most part, and then there was the Knicks, which is just a disaster. But now, he tried with Phil Jackson, didn't work with Phil Jackson. Instead of going back and just trying to get his hands on everything again, he brought in Leon Rose and Worldwide West, and he let them do what they're going to do. They brought in a good head coach who knows what he's doing in Thibodeau, and they built a foundation. They built like a culture. And like the Jets at this point, that's what they need. And the only way it's going to happen, though, no matter who, people are talking about, we got friends, obviously, big Jet fans, Ben Johnson coming to the Jets. He's not coming to the Jets if he's not going to be able to do what he wants as a head coach because...
I'm listening to Boomer and Carton this morning. Or Boomer and Gio?
Boomer and
Gio. And they were talking about the Chargers defensive coordinator, how he's like a shining star, not really talked about, really turned around the Chargers defense. And you're like, oh, maybe he could be like a dark horse candidate for the New York Jets. And the guy, Gio, goes, don't come. He's like, you want to continue to be a shining beacon of excellence in the NFL? Do not come to the Jets. I mean, the Jets are cursed. As everything that they touch turns to shit. I mean, this is the only team in the NFL that could have, a top 5 receiver, 2 potentially top 10 receivers, a top 5 running back, and then just somehow make Breece Hall go non-existent, have not have Devontae Adams in the mix at all. No. You have a guy like Tyler Conklin who's coming off like a 50, 60 catch season. He's probably going to get 30 this year. You bring in 2.
You bring in Mike Williams. Don't forget about that.
You bring in Mike Williams for red zone deep balls. Don't throw him.
He couldn't get off the team fast enough.
And it's just even on defense. They bring in Hassan Reddick. Can't get him on the field. Now he's on the field. He's like, I just want as many sacks as possible, and I'm out of here. Well, buddy, you don't get any sacks, so it's crazy. Like, Sauce Gardner, down year. DJ Reed still playing pretty well. They never really addressed the safety situation. Quincy Williams is having an okay year. CJ Mosley's been banged up, but Quinn Williams is answering all of the people. He's having a very solid year again. It's like they have all these big names, and they're 3-7.
Yep. It's just like you said, like it doesn't. No one. If you are a free agent or if you are a shining star coordinator or you're this great GM, like no matter how much money the Jets throw at you, it is not worth going to right now because you're not going to be in control. You're going to be set up to fail with Woody Johnson. And your career's just going to go downhill. It's like the Jets are the place where careers are going to die right now. And it's legendary Aaron Rodgers. How is he go? Right. He's going to go out being hated by the entire city of New York unless things change next year.
And it's funny that you mentioned the when Chris Johnson takes over because Woody's going to go back to getting his position in Trump's cabinet or whatever as an ambassador. That if he wants Rodgers to stay, I think that's almost a bad move because, like you said, Jordan Travis is sitting there, and I think next year should just be a stopgap year where it's you run out a veteran like Tyrod Taylor for the first few games, and then you hand the reins over to Jordan Travis, and then you see what you got. If he can play and he's good, then you know what? You keep rocking with him until otherwise. And if you really want to, you could still draft another quarterback in the mid-rounds or trade up for one. But if not, it's got to be all eyes on Arch. It really does. It has to be all eyes on Arch Manning.
Yes, I mean it's going to come down to this offseason, like who they bring in as the new GM, right? Does he like a quarterback in this draft? Are the Jets going to finish the season out, winning some meaningless games and not have a good draft pick to really get one of those guys that they believe in? Or are they, like you said, going to be all in on next year's draft? We're going to see what we got this year. We're going to run out, either Rodgers or we're going to run out Tyrod Taylor next year. Eventually get to Jordan Travis, see what happens. If he's great, awesome. We'll pivot off that. But if not, like you said, all eyes on the top of that draft. Who is the quarterback that we love, and how do we get him?
I mean, to me, it has to be Travis. You have to go to Travis because Rodgers clearly doesn't look like the QB that can get you to a championship. So you have to move on to a guy that could potentially be here for the next 10-plus years. You go make sure that Sauce, Garrett, Breece have their contracts, and then you have a good young base of guys. If you want to bring back Adams, you can bring back Adams, but I would focus on getting another receiver in the draft, and then you have a really good offensive core with a pretty decently young offensive line because you got to remember they'll still have Olu. John Simpson's got 3 more years. Tippmann's under his rookie contract. Vera Tucker will probably get his 5th year picked up. So you really just have to go get one more tackle.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, so your offense should be pretty decently set for a veteran, and then to push in technically Travis, be his 2nd year, but it's his rookie year, And then the defense, you just got to go pick pieces up. You got to get some interior linemen, address the safety position, and just hope that Sauce can just kind of bounce back.
Yeah.
It's the team can still be really good. It's just there's not the right coaching, and Aaron Rodgers is just playing too slow for NFL pace right now.
Yeah, I mean the good thing for the Jets is a lot of their key star players are young guys.
They're still on the rookie contract.
You got Sauce, you got Brees, you got Garrett.
It's
AVT,
good. Jermaine Johnson. It's good and bad because you
gotta get paid.
But that's the one thing too is Joe Douglas also kept them in a good position to have money for the future. That's why Joe Douglas, I think this is going to be really underlooked at too. So they're going to offload Moses and Smith. They're going to offload Reddick. So there's going to be a lot, and they can potentially offload Adams. So there's going to be a lot of money on the table, even with the money that they eat up from Rodgers. There's still going to be a lot of money left over for them to go get guys, to give certain guys extensions, to go sign some middle of the pack free agents that, if you can see maybe like a little needle in the haystack guy. Like Joe Douglas has always been a good guy with the finances, making sure that they have money to spend for the future. Because even look at it for this year, they had money to go out and go get Devontae Adams in the middle of the season. You know, like that's some things not a lot of GMs really do, especially when it's a win now season. You usually spend your entire salary cap, which he still didn't. He still made sure that he has money left over, which was, a really good move on Joe Douglas.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, there's really not much more to say. It's just
but it's like you're saying. If I'm a coordinator looking for my first head coaching job, I'm not coming to the Jets. Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, those are two coordinators on the Lions that could potentially have new jobs. The DC of the Chargers could potentially have a new job.
Yeah, you just can't come.
I'm not like you said. You can offer me $20-30 more million. I'm not risking my career in New York. I'm just not doing it.
It's like until the Jets have some stability, which they clearly don't have with the Johnsons, it's just not a great choice. I mean, obviously someone is going to take the job. At the end of the day, getting paid millions of dollars to be an NFL coach in New York City, they're going to take the job. It just depends. Are they going to be able to get one of these guys, say the right things, and get a guy who can actually make a difference in the building?
I just hope maybe this time around, because the last time Trump was in office, Chris Johnson also took over, and that was the Adam Gase years, and it was just horrific.
It's the family. They got to go. The family has to go.
I'm hoping maybe Chris kind of learns from his mistakes and kind of takes a step back and just goes, finds a capable GM and then just goes, here you go, run the show.
Yeah. I mean, the noise is as loud as it's ever going to be. So if it doesn't get through to them now, it's never going to get through to them. Because this Aaron Rodgers thing has just it's been as bad as you could possibly imagine.
He's got a worse winning percentage than Zach Wilson and Sam.
Dude. Shout out to Sam Darnold.
That was promised.
Yeah, 2 minutes. Honestly, we probably could bang out the rest of this episode in the next 20 minutes. Shout out Sam Darnold. Starting off, I'll give you the 49ers.
They're 5-5, and regardless of the CMC, and I know Kittle's missed a few games, no Ayuk. I mean, I'd have him at 4.
Yeah,
they're not like
the injuries. I think are the reason you can be the asterisk you can put on their season.
They also have had some guy like Jawan Jennings stepped up and looked really good. He's been banged up too. But then Jordan Mason stepped in and looked really good.
True, but CMC is I
understand.
He replaced him for 3 weeks, and then you really felt the.
I get it. CMC is just way different, but
so you put him at 4. All right, next up.
But even CMC's back, they still lost this week, right?
Yeah, they haven't been good. They've been bad. Next up, I got the Bears. I think the Bears.
I don't see it as disappointing because you're running a rookie QB out there.
That's true, but I think if you look at how they ended last season, they had the first pick, but that wasn't their pick. That was the Panthers' pick.
Right.
So they won, I believe, 7 games last year. And you figured Caleb was supposed to be this amazing top prospect.
Would get him 3 or 4 wins.
You got Keenan Allen. You drafted Rome Odunze.
We thought Aaron Rodgers can get us 3 wins.
Exactly. You brought in DeAndre Swift. The defense is good.
What's more disappointing? Your Hall of Famer not getting you 3 wins, or your rookie quarterback who played in the Pac-12 not getting you 3 wins?
Fair.
I don't know.
I'd put him at 5.
I'm putting him at 5 also.
I think they belong in the conversation just because they have a lot of talent on that teame, especially on
absolutely.
Their defense is good.
But it's also Keenan Allen is just a lot older. Rome Odunze looked like a great prospect, but I don't know if it's just because Caleb can't get him the ball or what.
He's picked it up the last few
Has
weeks.
he?
Yeah,
okay.
he's had a few.
But I mean, Caleb's just up and down. When he's on, he looks really good, but he's just an inconsistent rookie quarterback right now. That's all it is. I wouldn't put him. I would put it more. It's more disappointing seeing the the Niners, who were in the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
At 5-5, losing to the Seahawks,
it's
losing to
brutal
Geno
for them.
fucking Smith. Come on,
Next up, I got the Cowboys.
2 right behind the Jets.
Yeah,
Spending with like the Cowboys.
Even when Dak was healthy, they were not going anywhere.
America's team, they need to be better than what they were. They're the same boat. Like, you went out there and you just didn't replace Tony Pollard. You just thought Rico Dowdle and Zeke were going to be it, but like CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, you have talent. You still have a solid O-line. You have a good base on defense, and you just look like shit week in and week out.
Yeah, I mean, you can make the case that this week they looked better with Cooper Rush than they've looked with Dak this year. It was bad. I don't know. They just gave him a new contract too,
I still don't get why no Trey Lance. I still don't get it.
I think you could see him. I think,
bro,
they were
Cooper
good.
Rush is going to play.
They were good
like
with Cooper Rush a few years back.
Right, but I mean, Trey Lance, I don't know. Like, I still yet to fucking play.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know.
Yeah, but number 2 on the list.
Cool.
Jets.
Fair.
Jets won.
I think I'd have him too.
Yeah.
Bengals I got next.
Yeah, like you were saying, like you had the Dolphins on that list, and that's why I would take the Dolphins out because of Tua.
I took them off because of the injury.
Because
I
of
still
Tua.
think they've been bad with Tua. They
Joe
haven't looked good with him.
Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have, Chase Brown has emerged as like a very good candidate. Trey Hendrickson's leading the league in sacks. They have a solid defense. They just lose these shootouts though. Like I don't know. Their secondary is not good. Like the linebacking.
Their defense is terrible.
Yeah, their linebacking core is not good, but it's just. They lose these shootouts, and it's just year after year they're drafting offensive guys.
Yeah.
It's just stop it.
And
go get some defensive help. Go spend some money on the defense.
Well, that's the thing.
Like, your offense is clearly elite.
Their defense is terrible, but the real reason why, to me, I'm putting them at 3 is because you wasted a year of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase's prime. And that's where that's exactly like Joe Burrow's battled injuries. He's battled them this year a little bit, but he's been really good. Jamar Chase has been the best wide receiver in football this year, and you're 4-7.
Yeah, and you're not going to make the playoffs.
You're not going to make the playoffs, and it's like you lost week 1 to the Pats. You lost to the Patriots. Like, you're losing all these shootouts against good teams, but then you're not even beating some of these teams that there's no world where you should lose to the Patriots. No. And then, it's just like you're just wasting the prime years. The defense sucks, and they don't address what they always need to address. Their offensive line is always shaky, and their secondary is never really good.
Yeah,
I mean, even when they made the Super Bowl, where they had Eli Apple, they were running Eli Apple out there. Like, let's be real. Like,
lost 2 shootouts to the Ravens, lost a shootout to the Commanders, semi shootout to the Chiefs.
Like, the close games that they just lost because their defense just can't get it done.
Yeah. Got blown out by the Eagles.
They beat the Giants 17-7, but that game was pretty close.
That's not like an impressive.
No, but the game was close.
And then Monday night, you got blown out. You got not blown out. You lost in a shootout to the Chargers.
Yeah, a team that was not supposed to really be that good this year. And you got to save the worst, the best for last. The best for last, or in this case, the worst for last. The Jets are far and away the most disappointing team this year. They're the most disappointing team in the past 20 years.
Decade, yeah.
It is rock bottom for Jet fans. There's nothing to look forward to.
I'm pretty sure I touched on this last week too. Is that Rodgers is still probably going to have one of, if not the best statistical seasons that, if you just look at his stats, that we've probably seen out of a quarterback ever. Like, the guy's
it's rock bottom.
He's
for
like
football.
He's like 6th or 7th in touchdown. He's like 10th in yards. If he continues on this pace, he's going to throw close to 30 touchdowns. And he's probably going to throw 25 to 28 touchdowns and have 10 to 12 interceptions while throwing 35 to 3,800 yards.
Yeah.
If I told you that you have a quarterback with 28 touchdowns and 3,500 yards with Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Breece Hall, would you tell me that team is 3-7 right now?
Nope, 3-8.
3-8 right now.
Yeah, it's the thing is, the worst part about the Jets season is that as bad as they've been, it's just that they've been so bad in certain moments because they've had so many great moments, and then you look at it, it's like multiple games they lost because their kicker missed field goals. Multiple field goals.
They do have 3, like probably 2 or 3 losses where you could honestly say if that kid from this week was kicking,
dude, he had a fucking 58-yarder.
If they had him kicking, that they have 3 more wins. That they're potentially 6-4 and looking pretty good.
Yeah, but then the thing is, like, okay, you lose the games on the field goals. Then it's, oh, you lose to the Colts and your defense gives Anthony Richardson the best game of his career.
Yeah.
And your defense, which is supposed to be one of the strong points of this team going into the season,
has gone from like
they couldn't get the stop. They just have not been able to get a clutch play, a clutch kick, a clutch stop all year.
They
not
went from
one of them.
Last year being the 3rd ranked defense to this year before the Salah firing to I think like the 15th ranked defense, and now they're like the 25th ranked defense.
Yeah.
So it's
bad. It's rock bottom for the Jets, and it just doesn't get worse.
No.
I don't see I just don't see how it could get worse. This season is worse than the Rodgers Achilles last year.
You just move on to Jordan Travis.
Yep.
And then all eyes on Arch Manning. It's really, I think it's going to be another.
You think Arch is going to be like that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like the games he's come in, like Texas really hasn't played anybody, but like even those games, he just looks leaps and bounds better than everybody on the field.
Yeah, he
looks really good, and I think he's only going to spend 1 year playing full year of college football. So it would even be nice if you had Jordan Travis and looking solid, but like not the guy of the future, and even he can just kind of. Just play over Arch for a year.
Because I think
got to keep the veterans.
If whoever the team that gets Arch, I think we've learned at this point
he needs to sit for a year.
Yeah,
or at least like Drake May sat for like 6-7 weeks. They gotta sit. They gotta get used to the prep. They gotta get used to practice, training camp. They gotta get used to everything. How game days work, how film works. They gotta get used to everything first, and then you can put them out there. You can't just throw these guys into the fire.
Yeah,
it's just.
And I want to talk awards in a second, but this is just kind of like what you're saying is like so many quarterbacks over the past few years who've been drafted early in the draft have just been busts.
Look at the list we went through last year. Like all these guys that have just been busts.
But if you look at the two or three guys that have really been good this year, Bo Nix and Daniels really stand out. I saw a stat, I think Bo Nix played 61 career college games and Jaden Daniels played 55.
Right. So they had college experience.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Like Anthony Richardson did not have a long college career. Like, does he have tools and talent? Sure, but he didn't play a lot of college games, like you were saying. Like they mentioned that over on the radio too, and it was just. You need these guys to get adjusted to the different style and the different pace of play and everything that comes with prep and practice, training camp, film, recovery, just everything that comes with every game. They need to learn, and they need to learn from a veteran. You can't be sitting there learning it, having Zach Wilson teach Bo Nix. like to me, that was even a little bit of a head scratcher. Like they didn't have like some veteran guy. I mean, I know they have Stidham, but
well, I think they just had the benefit of having Sean Payton there. So it's like it was able to work, and Bo has played so much football at a high level that he's more experienced. He's 24 instead of some of these guys who are a bit younger, or even if they're not that young, they were maybe sitting for a few years and then had a great season and got drafted high because of their potential. Like. It's just, and I was just looking at the stats, and it's like Bo Nix, I think at this point right now, he is, if you asked me 3 weeks ago, I would have said Jaden Daniels is the clear rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year.
I think,
Bo Nix, last 4 weeks, bro, he's throwing 9 touchdowns, and he has 1 interception.
He's looking like a gunslinger, but like an effective one. Not like, he literally looks like Justin Herbert 2.0. Yeah, like similar throwing styles, similar builds. Obviously, both went to Oregon, and he just looks like another Justin Herbert.
Yeah, dude, he's looked so good, but bro. Just poised.
And he's another one where it's like, who is he throwing to?
Cortland Sutton.
Cortland Sutton's is a very mediocre wide receiver.
I don't even know.
And there's like Marshall Mims, I think his name is.
Denzel? Wait, is it? No,
Denzel Mims was the Jet. It's something Mims. Mims. I
think it might be Marvin Mims.
Marvin Mims. I don't know who his tight end is. He's got a carousel of running backs. He's got a really good offensive line. I'll give them that. But I mean, the guys that he's throwing to are a who's who of.
I mean, look at he's got Cortland Sutton.
Right.
He's got Javonte Williams, who's a running back.
But even Javonte Williams, like they were
Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Yeah. Guys throwing a rapper is like
Lil Jordan Humphrey and Devon Vell. Those are like the top 4. And then if you go top 5 guys in terms of receptions, Troy Franklin. Never heard of him.
I mean, I've heard of him, but it's still just like that's not a good receiving room.
No.
Like Cortland Sutton is a wide receiver 2 on most teams.
Yeah,
he's just not he's not a standout receiver for a rookie guy. So hopefully they go and get him some help. I mean, but like you said, he's really sneaking in there as an
offensive rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year, and Jaden Daniels has also like had a few come back to reality games lately.
Yeah,
he'll be coming off the bye, so maybe he was just like a little banged up or something, and he can be a little healthier. But I think that's gonna be a tighter, like you're saying, a tight race.
Oh yeah,
it's all right.
Which a month ago no one saw coming. Right. It was like, Jaden Daniels is the best rookie quarterback we've seen in the past 5 years. All this stuff.
Yeah, if
he's great.
If both teams keep winning, if one team starts taking a little bit of a slide, despite the performance, it's going to go to the guy who's winning.
Yeah,
if
for sure.
If either one of them takes their team to the playoff and the other doesn't, it's going to go to the guy who's on the playoff team.
Yeah, I was looking at their stats before. I believe so far Bo Nix has thrown 14 touchdowns and ran for 4, so he's got like 18 total. Mm-hmm. And the first 2 weeks he threw 2 picks in each game. Since then he's thrown 3, so he's got 7, because he had 4 the first.
He threw
4 in the first 2 games. And then you look at Jaden Daniels, and I think he has like 14 or 15 total touchdowns, and he's got 3 interceptions.
Right.
So both of them are also like not really making mistakes. Right. Yeah, they're not turning the ball over. They're being careful with the ball.
Honestly, Bo Nix getting it done on the legs. That was a not talked about. He has
4 rushing touchdowns.
That was not talked about at all. Where he is actually able to kind of run around and get things done with his legs.
I actually think he also has a receiving touchdown too.
Does he?
I'm pretty sure he has a receiving touchdown.
Good on him.
I think the week I played Blaze in fantasy, Bo Nix had like 30 fantasy points, and he had
a touchdown.
He had a receiving touchdown also.
Taysom Hill, shout out.
Yeah, bro. Absolutely.
Shout out a 40-point performance.
Alvin Kamara owners like myself in one of my leagues, it's just in shambles.
Punching air.
Yeah.
I know. I picked up Valdez Scantling for the week, and thank God he caught a 70-yard touchdown bomb, because besides that, he did fucking cock.
Nothing. But hey, 70-yard touchdown.
Shit. I know, but like I was sitting there like being like, oh my God, this guy's going to get nothing.
I don't know. I just wanted to run through some midseason awards quick. I mean, we got like 4 minutes till the camera runs out. Just go through ours.
Super quick. Yeah.
Yeah. So midseason NFL awards for me. MVP right now, I think I got to lean Josh Allen.
I'm like the way he's looked the past few weeks.
And the way the team's playing. I've been talking about this a lot. Like,
I mean, beating the Chiefs really jumps you in the
100%. You beat the undefeated Chiefs. You beat Pat Mahomes. And you're what, 8-2?
Right. And
then you see Lamar.
And Lamar just lost to the Steelers.
He's 7-4.
Right. Lost to the Steelers, who only kicked field goals.
Yep. I had Chris Boswell in one of my leagues, 24 points.
I had one of my leagues
just
too.
Ridiculous.
That was another thing I was getting at. I was getting heat from just one kid. He was like, "Yeah, the offense looks really good after kicking 6 field goals." This is the first time in 6 weeks the Steelers haven't scored more than 25 points.
Yeah, and they won. So who cares? Who cares how they did it? They won.
Just imagine being so spoiled.
Just another masterclass by Tomlin and the Steelers. But yeah, I think right now you got to lean Allen, especially his numbers are not as crazy as they've been in years past, but it doesn't matter because he's winning, and he's winning with less.
Yeah.
He's winning with, his receiving core is not anywhere what it's been.
He's got a banged up Cooper. Khalil Shakir is a wide receiver 1. That's really it.
Yeah. Keon Coleman, who's out right now, he's a rookie. And then you got, the 2 running backs in Cook and Davis. Offensive player of the year right now, I think it has to be Saquon.
Yeah,
I saw he's on pace for 1,900 rushing yards.
Jamar, like if he has a few more big boom games, like could sneak into the conversation.
For sure.
But I mean, it's definitely Saquon.
I think it's like Saquon, Jamar, and then Derrick Henry. Which you've noticed the correlation when the Ravens don't run the ball a lot with Derrick Henry, they lose. And obviously, when they're losing games, they don't have him on the field. They go with Justice Hill as the pass catching back. But it's like, don't deviate from the plan. Stick with Derrick Henry. He's gonna break off a 30-yard run, and he's gonna lead. He's gonna wear down the defense.
And you can still throw screens to Derrick Henry.
Exactly. I don't know why they don't.
I don't get it either.
Throw the screen to Derrick Henry. We've seen what he does after he gets the ball in his hands.
Get a 240-pound guy lined up against a cornerback.
That is
a terrible idea.
I never will understand that, especially with the Ravens. Like, they do not have him on the field if they're losing. How do you not have your second best player on the field?
I know.
If you're it doesn't make any sense.
I watch Jet games all the time, and I'm like, oh, good. 3rd and 1. Quinn Williams is on the sideline.
Yeah,
sick,
crazy. Defensive player of the year right now, T.J. Watt. I think Trey Hendrickson has a real case. He's leading the league in sacks. He's on a garbage defense, but he's been insane all year.
I mean, T.J. Watt just being on that elite defense and then, just doing the things he's doing. It would be nice to see if Will McDonald could fucking.
Dude, he's been awesome.
If he can get back into the sacks category, he can pop up there as a sacks leader. But
yeah,
I think the last 2 games he hasn't really gotten into the backfield too much.
Yeah. And we got 50 seconds before this thing runs out. Offensive Rookie of the Year right now, I think I'm leaning Bo Nix. That's kind of projecting how he's been playing. It could easily be Jaden. That's going to be a cool race to see down the stretch. Coach of the Year right now, I have Dan Quinn. I think just winning all these games with a rookie QB is crazy.
Yeah.
Honorable mentions, I think Tomlin and Harbaugh.
Harbaugh,
Chargers, Harbaugh.
Yeah. Jim.
I think.
Jim Harbaugh, I think it's Jim.
He's been
they play each other this week, I think.
They do? It's
the Harbaugh Bowl, and I think both times Ravens Harbaugh has won. Both times Ravens Harbaugh has won. John Harbaugh.
I would be surprised if that changes. This I just don't think the Chargers are good enough yet, but I think it's probably stopped recording anyway.
Probably. Coach.